Alright, hello guys. We want to take a look at some practice work for you guys to be ready for the ATLIB. We want to take a look at this question. This question says 0.00528 in standard form is. Now in standard form, we have two things that we need to do. One is move the decimal between the first two non-zero. In this case, we want to move the decimal between the 5 and the 2, which we have it here, we have it here, we have it here, we have it here. So we cannot eliminate none at this point, right? So we move it, and then this is what we have. And then we have, it is times 10. Times 10 times what? The power will tell me how many times I move. So the power is 1, 2, 3. I move it 1, 2, 3 times. So this one should be 3. Now after I have the 3 up there, I need to think if this is going to be a negative 3 or a positive 3, right? How do I know if it's negative or positive? If I move my decimal to the right, then this should be negative, and then that is why I had a negative there. If the decimal moves to the left, your answer should be positive. So here you should get a negative, and then below you should get a positive, right? And then let me quickly do one. If you have one that is 5, 2, 8, 6, 7, identify where my decimal is. If I have this, then my decimal is going to end up right here, right? Once there's no decimal, it's at the end here. So we know that I am moving the decimal this way because I need it between the first two non-zero. 5 is a non-zero and then 2 is a non-zero, so I need to put the decimal there. So my answer is going to be 5.2867 times 10, and then I need to figure out if it is positive and then how much I should put up here. How many? I need to put 1, 2, 3, 4. I need to put a 4 up here because I moved the decimal 1, 2, 3, 4 times, right? So that is 4. And because I went to the left, then that is going to be a positive 4. This is how we change any number to scientific notation. You move the decimal to the first two non-zero. Now, why did I ask, or why did I check if it's between the 5 and the 2 for all the answers? Is because sometimes they would give you something like, maybe the answer would have been something like 52.8, but then times 10 to the something. But then this would be already wrong because you cannot put it as 52.8. It has, the decimal has to fall between the 5 and the 2. Okay, so moving on, let's quickly take a look at number 2. Number 2, we have this one that says the first 4 multiples of 5. Oh, that's very easy. Multiples means like multiplication. So I would start off by saying 5 times 1, 5, that's a multiple, which is 1 time. 5 times 2, 10, that is a multiple. 5 times 3, 15. 5 times 4, 20. And then 5 times 5, 25. So the first 4 multiples, sorry, I went one more, but the first 4 multiples of 5 would be 5, 10, 15, and 20. Those ones right here. And then you can see that your answer is this one: 5, 10, 15, and 20, right? And then this one, I forgot to check what was the answer. The answer was 52, 5.28 times 10 to the negative 3. That is going to be B, right? Let's move on because we need to do at least 10 of them, and then we move on to another one. So Next one says 20 if 40% of a number is 80, the number is, if 40% of a number is 80, then the number is, I know that 40% equals to 80. I don't know what is 80, but it equals to 80. So the next thing that I need to find out is what is the 100%, right? What is the 100%? So this is going to be 40% equals to 80, because it says here, if 40% of a number is 80, so 40 equals to 80, then the full percent, which is 100%, should equal to what? Cross multiply. We have, it is 100, which equals to 100 times 80 divided by 40. That is going to be 40, and the zeros goes off there because I reduced by 10. Then 4 into 4, 1, 4 into 8, that's 2. So 100 times 2, that is 200. So that means the number was 200, which is C, right? Any questions? Moving on. Number 4 says if g of x equals to 2x cubed plus 1, then g of negative 2 is, here we have algebra, g of negative 2, right? We have a bit of algebra. Now this is what it's saying. It's telling you that the name, or the equation's name, is g, and then that the equation is made up of letters x, which you can see it's x cubed. And then it's telling you what is g of negative 2. G of negative 2 is telling you g of x, right? Which is g, use the equation g, this is the name of the equation, this is the equation, and then x equals to 2, negative 2. So you're going to say, what this is telling you is to substitute x for being negative 2 into the equation g. So that's going to be 2 times negative 2 cubed plus 1. Got it? So it's telling you g of negative 2. To solve g of negative 2, it is just taking the equation g, that's named g, and then x is inside, so it's telling you that x will be equals to negative 2. So that means from the equation that you have here, 2x cubed plus 1, you will substitute negative 2 for x, so you end up with 2 negative 2 cubed plus 1. So you solve that out. So that's going to be 2 negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. This here means negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2, right? Negative 2 times a negative 2 gives me a positive 4, and then positive 4 times a negative 2 gives me a negative 8. So we have 2 times negative 8 plus 1. 2 times negative 8 gives me negative 16. When we multiply, signs are different. Your answer is negative, and then 2 times 8 is 16. Bring down the plus 1. Negative 16 plus 1, that is going to be signs different. You subtract the numbers and you keep the sign of the larger one, which is 16. So my answer will be negative, and then 16 minus 1, that's 15. Right, so we have our answer to be negative 15, and then we can find it here that our answer is going to be B. Number 5, we have one that is going to be statistics. It says the diagram shows the weekly allowance received by children in a class. So it's telling you that at the end of the week, some students get money by their parents for doing a little bit of chores at home. And then this is what we have. There are 3 students or 3 children that get $10. There are 5 children that get $20. There are 6 that get $30. There are 7 that get $40. And there are 4 that get $50. There are 6 that get $60. And there are 3 that get $70. So that is what we have, and you have the bar chart right there. Question. This is the mode of the distribution is the mode of the distribution. What is mode? Mode is going to be the one or the money that is given the most to students. So which allowance is being given to students the most? 10 was only 3 students, 20 was only 5, 30 was only 6, $40 was given to 7 children. So that means from the distribution I can see that it is going to be 40 because it is given to 7 children and all the rest fall below 7 children. So my answer is going to be 40 because $40 is being given to 7 children for their weekly allowance. And then here you have it, 40. Your answer would have been B. Right? Moving to number 6, it says the diagonals of each of the following figures will always bisect each other and meet at right angle. Oh, sorry, not the diagonals of which of the following figures will always bisect each other and meet at right angle. So from the diagrams below, which one of the diagram will bisect and meet at 90 degrees? Is it a rhombus? Is it a rectangle? Is it a parallelogram? Or is it a trapezium? Which one of those will meet at 90 degrees when you form diagonals? So let's take a look at some of them. Rectangle, we know that it's one length is longer than the other. So if we cut that here, we know that this and this will not be 90, so that's out. Parallelogram, we know that it's something like a rectangle, but only that it is sideways, like it is falling. And then if I do this, then we can notice that it does not cut at 90 degrees. The trapezium, then that is a little bit more different, because if you notice, one will be way longer than the other one, and then if I cut it in diagonals, then this are not 90. The rhombus, on the other hand, the rhombus is a square where it is almost like it is falling down, but if I cut the rhombus in half, this is 90, 90, 90, 90. So which one would cut, where would the diagonals cut at 90? I think it would have been, or it would be the rhombus, right? So make sure you guys do a little figure and then you try to figure out which one is the correct answer. So that's what we have for that one. Number 7, it says a cylinder's capacity has a capacity of 88 centimeters cube. Its volume in liters is, so in this case we want to find what is the volume in liters, and then what we have is that 1 liter equals to 1000 centimeters cube, right? So you need to remember that if you have any question like that. So 1000 centimeters squared equals to 1 liter. So we have that, and then it says in liters, so that means that what we have is 88 centimeters cubed equals to what in liters. We cross multiply, right, and we get it is 1 times 88 over 1000. So it's going to be 88 over 1000, and then what we have is we move 3, 1, 2, 3, and then for the 88 we move 1, 2, 3. So my answer is going to be 0.088, right? 0.088, which in this case we have it's A, right? Let's move on. Number 8. Number 8 says if x equals to 2 squared, then x cubed is, so you're given what x is, right? So x equals to 2 squared. So what we need to do now is we need to say, all right, so if x, what is x cubed? Let me replace x. X is 2 squared, and then I want to raise it to the third again, right? Like that. Which means you can go 2 ways. One is solve out what is x squared. So instead of putting x squared, you could have said this is 2 times 2, which is 4. So that is 4 cubed. And then this would have been 4 times 4 times 4. 4 times 4, 16. 16 times 4 equals to 64. So my answer is 64C. Or, so this is one way, find what is x squared, then get 4 and then 4 to cube, that gives you 64, right? Or you could have said 2, and that's going to be 2 to the third, second, and then third out there. And then this one would have been 2, and then that's going to be 2 times 3, which equals to 2 to the 6th, right? Because whenever indices say that whenever you have a power and you want to raise it to another power, then that's going to be 2 times 3, which gives me 6, which this is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, right? So multiply by 2 6 times, and your answer still ends up to be 64, right? So you can go 2 ways, change the 2 squared to 4 and then raise it to the power of 3, and then you get 64. And the same thing happens if you get the other one. The next one, it says, which of the following pairs of equations represent pair of perpendicular lines? All right, perpendicular lines. When we have an equation, y equals mx plus c, that is the equation of the line, we want to take a look at the value for m. The value of m is the inclination of the line. It gives you how steep your line is. If your line is going to be falling down like this, how steep it is. If it's going to be this way, like that, right? So it gives you what's the steepness. So we need to figure out what is m, the gradient, and you will always find it in front of the x whenever it is in this form, right? So I want to quickly just go over 2 of them. Parallel and perpendicular, right? When you have parallel lines, gradients are the same. M equals to m, meaning that if you have an equation y equals to 2x plus 1, notice that the gradient is 2 here. So that means that the gradient for the second equation, or all the equations since they're parallel, m would be 2, right? So they are the same. But when you have perpendicular, it says that whenever you have perpendicular, the gradient will be opposite in sign, and then you flip them. So if the gradient for that one is 2, then the perpendicular line will have a gradient of a half, and then this is positive, so this has to be negative. Am I clear? So fraction form of this is going to be negative or positive 2 over 1 in fraction form, right? It is always over 1. Flip this, 1 over 2, and then it is a negative. If you have another one, if you have y equals to a half or 1/3 x plus 1, what would be the gradient of the second equation? Or how do I know if it's going to have if it is going to be parallel or perpendicular? If it is parallel, the only thing that I have to find it is that it has this same thing, 1/3. So this one might be y equals to 1/3 x plus 10. I could see that they are the same, so that means they are parallel. Perpendicular, what I need to see is y equals to, this is positive, so I must see a negative. And then if I flip this, then 3 belongs at the top, and then it's going to be over 1. So, and then if it is over 1, it's only 3, right? So it is going to be negative 3x plus whatsoever, 15, right? So I just need to make sure that this satisfies parallel, the same, perpendicular, you flip that, and then it becomes negative if it is positive. If it is negative here, then this is positive, right? So let's quickly take a look at the answers here. For the answer for number 9, then we take a look at the gradients. For the first one, the gradient is 1, there's nothing, so at 1. And the second gradient is 2. So these two lines are not parallel nor perpendicular. Let's take a look at this one. This one is negative 2 and the second gradient is 1. So this is neither parallel nor perpendicular, right? Right? Parallel nor perpendicular, because they don't have the same gradient, or it's not the flipped form of the other. Now, letter C. Letter C says that the gradient for the first one is a half, right? And the gradient for the second one is going to be negative 2. Is this parallel? No, because they're not the same. Is it perpendicular? It is perpendicular, because if you notice, it is 1 over 2. And if I flip that, then 2 belongs at the top, and then this is over 1, right? And then is this positive? Yes. Is this negative? Yes. So signs different, and it is the flipped form. So this is perpendicular. And then let's take a look at the last one and make sure that we have chosen the correct one. What is the gradient? The gradient is negative 2. What is the gradient for the second one? Negative 1. You can see that they are not the same, so they are not parallel and they are not perpendicular. I hope you guys like the video, and then I'm going to continue with the other ones in the following video.